But you know what? There's a lot of things in front of us, Penguin.
Oh yeah, lots ahead.
And I see some familiar faces in the crowd.
Yeah. So today, we're here to talk about the battle for Evermore AMA. We've been pretty heads down working, and we wanted to share some of the progress. Thanks for joining us, guys. This is the main development team. We'll be going through most of the questions that were asked on the AMA channel as part of our updates. And then if you have any questions that are asked live during this, we'll address those after we've kind of gone through and addressed kind of the updates and explained as much as we can. And then we'll go and we will answer any of the live questions. So G, how you doing?
I'm good. Should we start with intros, maybe?
I think that's a great place to start. So let's introduce
I
ourselves.
yeah. Yeah,
I'll
I'll
go.
start.
Okay, you go
No,
first.
you start. No, I'll start.
You
Okay, no,
start.
you start for real.
Okay, I'll start. All right. So my name is Penguin. I am your lead. I am the GM. I am the DM. And I'm here to help guide us through the roadmap, guide us through Evermore, and explain the story, explain what's been happening, and explain where we're going. Um, Obviously, my background has been pretty varied. I'm an expert in NFTs, software development, and leading projects. I have been in the NFT space since 2019, actively building and creating value in projects, developing NFTs such as Machi X's contract that was a sister to the Infinity contract, which standardized double redundant data online. We've done gold NFTs, and I've been talking about an NFT game this whole time. So we have been instrumental in bringing this thing to market, and now here I am, need more of the poor, helping every step of the way to carry us and get us to um, you know the the best game that we can make. How you know? Let's go.
That
Switch to you.
was that was a good intro. I don't know how to follow that, but I'll try. Hello everyone. My name is Guillaume van der Est. I go by Guy G, and just basically throw a swear word my way, and I'll probably turn my head. But I've been doing software development for professionally for like 15 plus years. I've been playing MUDs for longer than that, probably closer to 20 something. Um, yeah, I've been working all over the place. Had ran my own business for a while. Worked at many startups. Did a stint at Amazon, software engineering. And now I'm here in what was it, September of last year. Penguin tapped me on the shoulder because he and I had played MUDs for many years, and he said, "We're making something special here. We're using NFTs to bridge the gap to gaming." And I, at the time, didn't even I knew the basics of what Bitcoin was and like crypto generally, but I had no idea what was waiting for me on the other side. I'm pretty sure I pushed you away a little bit for a few years there, Penguin. You told me about NFTs. I'm like, yeah, okay, that sounds like magic. But in the end, it's been a very cool opportunity. This has been a very cool project, and we've got some very cool things coming down the pipe.
Great, thank you. How you doing, Salky?
Very good. My name is Salki. I'm a front-end developer. I have been working for the mat like 2 months ago. I started when Penguin told me to join. I have been. I'm quite new in the crypto. I joined like 2 years ago, not like Noman and Penguin that have been long time. And yeah, I'm really enjoying programming front ends on the Web3. I originally was a music producer, and 2 years ago I started coding, and it's been a long journey already with Web3. And yeah, I'm here to code the whole platform with all of you. And yeah, I'm really happy to be part of it.
Yeah, thank you. You're killing it, man. How you doing, B?
Hey, My name is Vitaly, but I prefer to be called V because it sounds cool. I've joined the team of Mod XYZ 2 months ago, uh, and I do stuff here. I'm really passionate about the game itself and the platform. So I've already did a couple of things, and I'm proud of them, which everybody could see playing the game. Thanks for having me.
Great, thanks a lot, V. Yeah, Sulky and V are both doing amazing work, and a lot of the things that they've been doing are hard for people to see in that instance, but their presence and such as the hit markers are visible, and some of the other things that we'll show you later in screenshots about how to create matches and other things. We'll show you some of the infrastructure time and work that's been put in over these past 2 months. So thanks a lot, guys. And so yeah, that's the main development team right now. We have a few more people, such as a smart contract developer who couldn't be here today, but this is the core team that's developing every single day, and the team's really been instrumental in developing software that is innovative and really interesting to work on. So it's been a pleasure to develop this, and we're gonna keep making cutting edge stuff. So especially the smart contract, it's got a lot of really new features that we'll be happy to talk more about. So G, you want to lead us into some of the first sections? What are we going to talk about next?
I think to start with, we were going to talk about some match updates. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I think match updates is a great place to start. So, one of the things that we originally did with matches is they were created manually and we would have to make them by hand. It was kind of hard and it was time consuming to create matches to play, and it led to a delay between when people wanted to play and when matches were available. So we would have to have times that we organized to play so that it was easier to schedule these. Now we've really updated how people create matches and even made it so that people don't have to have access to the server and can really customize from the title, add a description, and add different features to the match that previously we didn't have. So we're creating kind of new infrastructure for how games are created in general.
Yeah, and the previous iteration, one of the things we also found is that, especially with it being manually created, it was so easy to make typos and mistakes that would basically crash the game. So we're really tightening up on the quality on that side.
Yeah, I think, and having the form, so we'll post some updates of that form creation in the roadmap update. But having those makes it safer to create matches, so that it's faster, easier, and we can schedule them ahead of time. And so that also kind of leads to like people being able to play when they want and increasing that ability for people. So I think having that leads to um, not having so much team pressure to play and letting people play at different time zones or kind of around their schedule. So I think that's really one of the big updates that we'll see in the coming weeks and months is having a lot more times to play where we're not saying come play on Saturday or come play on Tuesday. We will still promote group play sessions, but we'll also really promote playing whenever and having matches up regularly.
Yeah, and so if you've got a group of people that you want to play with, maybe pester us a little bit and we can get something set up.
Yeah, because MUDs are really a social uh, experiment. They started off as chat rooms and people wanted to play games, and just like with Discord, the entire thing is about having fun and playing games and having a social experience where you can get together with people. So, as we do these match updates, we're making a real focus on connecting people and making it so that it's a social experience. I think that really comes out in the different game modes.
Yeah, game modes. That was something we wanted to touch on for sure.
Yeah, the game modes are going to be our way to change the complete rules of the game. So right now we've had two types of matches, and people that might not have had a chance to play the Friday the 13th fork map haven't had a chance to play the King of the Hill, where both sides kind of compete for one objective. But then there's also the ranked free matches, which we count as like the standard matches, and that is where we've got the two sides that defend their objective. But as we build out these game modes, we're gonna kind of play with the different games that people already play in games like first person shooter or even Dota. So having a ranked ban match where people can choose which classes they don't want to play against and have competitive people kind of register their characters, and that kind of builds into this tournament schedule and events stuff that we want to have more balanced play in, as well as cater to casual things. So we'll still have event modes where you can go and kill 9,000 bunnies, but it won't count towards your leaderboard score. And I think having those game modes that we'll see as part of the match updates really will define what's happening in those game modes.
Yeah, I think the important thing with the game modes to bring up, you touched on it lightly, but most players have only ever really played like the Dota style battle, which is like kill the other team's boss, and then with the King of the Hill, that might have also kind of felt similar in that like the only difference is you're both battling over the single boss. But we've got other game modes coming down the pipe, like you said, banning certain classes perhaps. But we'll have the ability to make these game modes very flexible, and it can completely change. Like you might see the same map on your interface, but like everything that's going on inside that map can be completely different. It could be different creatures, it could be different objectives, and so as we flesh those out, you'll be seeing new ways to play the game that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think even like giving people lives, and as we develop more of like the traditional mud, we will see a lot of different things hash out. And obviously the core of the matches was to make sure that under the heaviest stress of group PvP, the game was still fun and balanced and worked. And then it's a lot easier to kind of predict how people will interact against an environment for PvE mode.
Yeah, no, good point. So when we originally made the decision to do, yeah, the Dota style PvP game, it was for the goal of A, bringing something fun to people that they could play immediately, like very quickly, and I think we delivered that fairly well. But we knew that the next evolution was going to be something larger. And I think that's kind of the next section we want to talk about, isn't it, Penguin?
Yeah, I think kind of talking about the social aspect and the tavern is really like where the heart of things are and where we can do more than just kill each other.
Yeah, we can hug each other, talk to each other. I
Yeah,
don't know, play games, maybe? I don't know.
yeah, I think mini games and having fun and having a social experience where people can immerse themselves in their characters and kind of have more communication with people rather than um, just uh, facing people and dying. I think having a chance to learn and having a place to meet your friends and maybe listen to music is what it's all about.
Yeah, and I think that the tavern, which I think we'll talk about if you've got more details about that, we'll talk about that next. But the main thing about the tavern is going to be like that's the first step in the direction of the larger mud. I think I saw some questions, AMA questions outlined that just talked about that. We're just asking about when are we going to flesh out the real like mud side of the game more. And as we were just saying before, like most of the PvP approach was just a stress test to see that the client worked, to see that the engine worked, to see that the like fast-paced battling could work. Muds are traditionally a little bit slower than that, so we knew that if we got PvP working, the rest of the game would work pretty well. there's some exceptions to that with like crazy boss battles that we'll figure out when we get there. But definitely the tavern, a social area where, I mean, I guess you could have some PvP, some brawling in some spots, but more of a social area. What's the plan there? And I think one of the questions was, when macchiato?
Yeah, win macchiato. I think if the tavern gets a coffee maker, it'll probably be in about 2 weeks that people can be having their macchiatos. So that's
Ooh.
when I'm predicting that we will have the tavern match. We've already had an internal test of it, and one of the huge changes for the tavern versus what people are used to is instead of being in arcade mode, the tavern mode really encourages you to use text mode. And there are specific quests that we've built into the area that you'll have to respond to questions, or you'll have to go find things and get them. And so it brings objectives to the area where a person will have to think rather than just hack and slash.
Hey, there's thinking in the PvP, Penguin. Don't be mean.
Well, I mean, sometimes the warrior's got to hack.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, no, it's a good point though. Arcade mode was also like that. That's kind of a new invention that most like. I don't think you could make hotkeys and triggers in MUDs with your client, but the level of arcade mode that we've got right now was definitely like custom made and designed just for our PvP approach. But like you said, yeah, the tavern, it's a little bit like it's not meant to be super fast paced, and you're supposed to take a little bit of time and chat with your friends there. Yeah, do some quests. But it's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, what are we going to find people's playstyles to be as they move to a social mode?
I think even having a match that people can hop in and hop out of, so you can quit,
Yeah,
is
yep,
is a big step. So there's a
yep,
lot of things that we'll have in the tavern that will push the game modes and show that there's more to the engine that we're building.
for sure. Yeah, so I'm just looking at the list here, and I was just curious. When it came to the tavern, how did you make that?
Yeah, so the tavern, just like all the other areas, are built through our online creation as well as a mix between, creative writing and storytelling. So it all happens through our mud building. And one of the questions is that we received was, will the team allow members to help build? And one of my favorite parts of mudding is actually creating. So planning to allow people to build and tell their story is a big part of where we will be, and like one of the big parts of muds. So I'm going to be hosting a workshop later this month that will demonstrate exactly what it takes to build an area. And it does not take technical skills to build the area. Most of it is things that if you were playing the game, you could figure out. So writing a description is done in game. Writing titles for rooms is done in game. The scripting are things that we have to do behind the scenes as the developers, but you can create the creatures and the items and things around that without having to worry about the balance. All that's handled on the back end. So just kind of creating what things will look like and where you place them, and then the area will create itself. And so we built an environment that's really friendly for people that have never used a mud or don't have any technical experience, and made it so that they can tell a story through the actual environment.
Wow, that's definitely a step up from the way it used to be when we were building the first versions. All of our maps were written by hand in the code a little bit. More like while it might not sound like it was that fast, it was done for speed, so we could get maps in front of people very quickly and test them out. But now that all that tooling's been built for making maps faster and writing out those descriptions very easily, like Penguin said, it doesn't require huge technical skill now where it used to. Yeah, we can deliver a lot of things faster, and hey, who knows who's going to be building some of the areas in the future? We'll see.
Yeah, even one of the big innovations that we've done that helps speed up that building process is the ability to generate a map from an ASCII file. So basically, you can do some ASCII art, and it will come out as an area that you can play.
Yeah, that's cool.
So there's so many levels that we've kind of dug into making this fast and easy that it will really make it so that anyone can pick it up and create an area down the line. So right now, I don't think it's ready for everyone to pick up, but if we have select builders and storytellers, we can start giving them some of the tools that they can hop in and start creating some of their areas. And then when the tools for the other mobs and things are ready, then we'll give them to them as well. Because I don't think we're far off from some of the other tools. And right now they've got everything that they need to build the actual structure and bones of an area.
Nice. Bones. I like bones.
Oh yeah, the morbid gear, man. One of my favorite.
Okay, so let me get this straight. I go into matches, I fight people. I go into matches, I fight people. What do I get as a reward, Penguin? Why am I playing this game?
Well, I mean, obviously the love of bones, as we just pointed
Yeah,
out.
Bone Love is probably priority one. But what's priority two, three, and four?
So priority two is obviously fame and glory. You know, all the things that we do end up on the leaderboards. You know, so everything that we do gets tracked, and we track the metrics of how well you did in a match, if you won, how many kills you had. And we use these to support the leaderboard and build some statistics for how well people are doing in a season. We actually want to maintain a seasonal leaderboard so that we can reward people and then clear that out so it doesn't become too saturated if people have been on there for too long, or if we had an event, or the balances kind of change. So we want that leaderboard to be seasonal and kind of change.
Okay, so you're dancing around it. I'm gonna put you on the spot here. What are some of these rewards?
Yeah, some of the rewards will also come with items, and we have been hesitant to say that because we wanted to make sure that the item contract was ready before we got there. And I think that we are very close to the item release, and the item contract is due in about 3 weeks. So we will have a major update for items in 3 weeks, and we will be able to start releasing some of those as rewards for performances in matches. But that is not to say that every match will drop an item. Uh, to make sure that we're not oversaturating the market, you know, there'll be a chance to drop an item in a match, and we will consider the match level, the participants that were in it, and people's overall scores as part of that consideration.
I'm looking forward to wearing more than just like someone's body parts. Like I do love the morbid gear, but I am looking forward to like a shield or a sword or something.
Yeah, the weapons are actually coming at the same time. We will be taking a snapshot of all of the weapons holders. So if your hero has got a weapon on it and you are holding it within 2 weeks, we will be taking inventory of the wallets that have them and be allowing people to claim those items at the release of the items.
Wait, so if I've got a weapon on my character's ASCII art, I get to claim it?
Yes. Yeah, it's amazing. We have really gone through all of the NFTs. This was not a feature that was in the metadata. So big thank you to Bond to help go through all this data with me and document everyone that had weapons. And now we're going to be releasing those weapons to people. So each one of those is a little bit different, but these will be some of the strongest weapons that will be out, especially for a while. So
All right, so on the list, I see the word borders. Tell me more.
yeah, so I'm actually not going to tell you that much about borders right now. They are coming. I will say that, and I will say that they are going to be a big change, but I can't say much more than that.
I'm just asking what the people are asking. I respect your decision. I'll go to the next item. Why did I write multiple heroes?
Well, you're probably wondering what happens if you have multiple heroes and what the value of holding them is, aside from some of the things that we just mentioned about snapshots and if you have any of those heroes. But
Yes, I was wondering what owning multiple heroes. What's the benefit?
well, aside from being able to play multiple classes or, kind of living the characters that you have, there will be an opportunity down the line for us to have hero staking and engage in some like GameFi elements. And then we've also talked kind of about hero rental, and I think that's a really positive way for us to go. But before we get to hero rental, I think it's important that people have a reason to play the different heroes. And right now, that reason is that they will all kind of calculate to your score, right? So each one of your efforts is calculated on the leaderboard. So you might claim higher on a leaderboard with one person, but you'll be able to have more of an impact if you use multiple characters. And we do have plans of incorporating different uses for heroes, such as we mentioned the ban event, or if you have come to a tournament, usually you've got to pick people for light and dark. So if you've ever played League of Legends or Dota, I don't want to always play the same hero every time. So
Yeah.
aside from that, and having the flavor of different classes, and if we start tying in these different game modes, I've definitely seen a difference in the effect of one character versus another for something like Fork versus Temple. There's a big difference in match types and the effectiveness of different heroes in those match types. So I think having the matches expand will also give different utilities to different heroes because they will play and feel different.
Can I
Makes
add a
sense.
little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Also, you could mention that there is certain combinations of different classes which works, and there are certain combinations of different classes which doesn't work. So, and we have experience with that already. We tested it out a little bit with matches with community that when you play with certain classes, you just can't do anything because they doesn't work together. And at this point, having more than one character is quite a good thing because you could plan your strategy in front of the match. So you could like use different strategies, do different tactics to actually get the score. But if you have only one, well, it's quite obvious what you're gonna do this match, and probability is high that you're gonna lose this match because your opponents already know what you do.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
very good
I'm
point.
sorry, I'm thinking back to one of the matches. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think Needmere was there and goblins, and I just remember people were getting CC'd like crazy and couldn't get away. Now that might have been a little bit exploity at the time because maybe it wasn't balanced right, but I do remember there being some severe CC lockdown and people just not being able to battle it.
Yeah, the meta is always changing. So as you say, the flavors of battle really determine who are you fighting against and who are the team composition, and who you're fighting with is almost always changing. So having different flavors yourself means you'll be prepared to help your team.
Yeah, obviously the balance of classes and classes combinations are also on the list to balance them up, but like it's always a fun for a gamer to find those combinations that are imbalanced right now and to exploit that. And I think it's a good motivator for people to play. Well, in personally for me it is.
Yeah. Any other further advantages of having heroes we will talk about in the future, and it's not to say that there aren't other advantages, but we are not talking about them yet.
Oh, that makes sense. Was there anything else you wanted to touch on just regarding economy? I think we kind of touched on it a little bit. There might have been a little bit more depth you wanted to hit, but I'm just double checking.
Yeah, I think we're taking a really close look at the economy before we release anything like a token. We do have plans for things like that, but they will come when they're ready, and we're not going to rush anything like that. So I think the in-game economy will focus on, you know, play to earn mechanics, and that will kind of be carried out through these items. And we do have a really interesting change to how matches will be scheduled, and how people will interact with loading out into the matches. So that's one of the big things that I wanted to touch on here that was outside of the questions that I think will really impact the games going forward in the next few months.
And along that vein, I know we talked about it a little bit internally, but maybe just sharing, what are our thoughts on free to play right now?
Yeah, so one of the things of being early is that we want the people that are here to have the benefit of being early. So we are very conscious of having an avenue for people to play. But right now, with the token price, I think that we're very affordable and attractive to people at a low price point. And so that's not going to stop people from coming in and playing. We will have a way for people to kind of engage with the game that will not require them to have players. But the main thing is we want to mobilize other communities as well. Like it's not all about uh, getting more cash or selling things. Like one of the advances that we are doing, like for example, is integrating Goblin Town. So Goblin Town is a brand new PFP. It's a collection, and people are kind of asking questions about it. But we have the utility that we can integrate goblins into our game pretty easily. They fit really well with our RP, and I think that is part of the stuff that will drive the economy and the players is by getting more people in here and building our community, because it is community first. We've been focused really heavily on building, but in the next coming months, having the support of the community and building the community is where we're really going to focus, because we talked a lot about social stuff, we talked about kind of rewards, but all of that is dependent upon people coming here and having fun. Like it's not a job to play the games, and I don't want it to be a job. I want people to have fun. So the economy will be focused around kind of the interactions that people want to engage in rather than things that they're forced to engage in.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Fun game first, economy still high priority, but second to that. We don't want to cloud the fun with all the complicated financials. No, that makes sense. I'm just reading through some questions and trying to see if we missed anything. One of them that I just was looking at was, I think Feather was asking about, is there a chance of being able to toggle the leaderboards for wallet users slash instead of character?
Yeah, one of the best things about us writing all of our own pages and writing everything ourselves is that we can kind of slice the data and display it however we want. So having the view per wallet and displaying the leaderboard in different ways is 100% possible, and we're pretty agile in the way that we're able to display this data. So if you've got feedback about ideas that we should implement, or things that didn't quite work that you think should work a different way, the ideas and suggestions is the best place to post, and we're always reading those and considering those for features that we implement.
Cool, cool. Any thoughts on Evermore having a marketplace to buy, sell, trade heroes, items and weapons, what have you?
Yeah, it's definitely something that we've talked about, and it's something that we would like to do. It is not an immediate need, though. I think that that is probably something we'll talk about more in 6 months. Um, I think that that marketplace will be more for RP items, and it'll kind of, if the need arises, we'll focus on it. But right now, we've got a lot more to cover with the games, and I think even building out some of these play to earn things is more important right now than the marketplace. But we're open to feedback from the community about what they would like us to work on. But we've got a roadmap that we're also going to be sharing with our plans and what we feel is the highest priority and the progress that we've made so far.
Sounds good. So I'm just going down the list of questions and trying to pick out items as I see them. Was there anything else you wanted to like sidestep and talk about, or do you want me to just keep going?
Yeah, so before we break, I definitely want to talk about the difference that people are going to have with the match loadout. And that's not a direct question. That one is like a big change that's coming to the process of joining a match. So that,
Do it.
yeah, so essentially right now, when you join a match, you select a hero and then you sign to join your match. One of the big changes that's going to happen with items and weapons is that you will actually have a chance to equip those items before you join any match. That will mean that if you have low intelligence, you can wear some intelligence gear so that your character's a little smarter and you level faster. If you need a weapon, you can do some more damage. If you got one of these heroes with a weapon, you'll have a nice weapon. And even having a shield at the start of a match is a dramatic improvement to a lot of these classes. They'll get double the amount of hit points that they can consume with shield block. So having items aside from just the stats will increase the skills, and they'll increase your ability to engage with your character. So, something like a flag that has regenerate might make you regenerate faster, or give you an extra life in survival mode. Who knows? The things are kind of limitless based on the code that we write, and we've got some interesting flags that we're going to build into it, and you can kind of see that in the match process to determine if the equipment is a good fit for your character and this match. But yeah, that also changes the complete UI. So we'll have some user testing before we release it. So it's a good chance to get in the alpha pass. We're going to clear out the existing alpha pass users and get a new selection of people that will come and test out the interface. So we'll have some tests in about 2 weeks, so about a week before the interface is released to the public, that people can come test out the new match process with items. And yeah, so I think it's a really important change, and it will be the next step in these games to and for your character evolution.
And I think that's like you touched on it a little bit, but I think this ties into one of the other questions that I think Borg you'd sent out was along the lines of our website design overall, whether we're upgrading our UX. Let me just preface by saying we moved very quickly initially. I'm pretty sure that Penguin passed me an original design for the website that he'd thrown together, and I'm pretty sure I got it like the website up and running overnight. I'm fully aware that it is kind of a neat harkening back to the 1980s terminal, green text on a black background, but I'm fully aware it's ugly. We're working on it. That's why Salky and V are here. They're making things prettier. We're adding a whole bunch of functionality, and it's definitely being iterated on. It might feel like it's iterative and a little bit slow, but it's definitely going to all be replaced over time and look a lot better. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, the actual theme that I described, our look right now is Pit Boy 3000, and Pit
Yeah,
Boy
for
is
sure.
from Fallout. For those of you that don't get the reference.
Um, One of the questions that jumped out to me was just regarding to saving server state or character progress to the blockchain. I think you touched on the approach we were thinking a little bit, but maybe just go into a little bit of detail on that.
Yeah, so one of the things is preserving the history. What happened? Who was the best? What happened with these leaderboards? Those are the kind of snapshots that we'll take, and we can upload those to on-chain data, so that it's immutable. People will always know that you were the best in that season. But as far as like individual matches, because we're on mainnet Ethereum, it doesn't make sense for us to upload everything and be fully on chain. There have been some games that have done that, and even on L2s, it gets really expensive to try and do everything on chain, and the user experience is really rough because you have to wait for, block transactions, and so we will store seasonal results and kind of these leaderboards on chain to capture who had won and the status permanently, and that way when we reset the leaderboards, that data is never lost. It's not on our servers. No one can go back and edit it. But we really strive to maintain live updates to as much as we can, and even all of the items will be significantly gas saving. So we've really tried to optimize the cost for everyone, and what that means for anyone that is an NFT nerd and wants to know about the tech. That means that we have an innovative approach to the 721A contract. So essentially, you can mint 10 NFTs for less than the cost of minting one NFT previously. And it's a huge optimization in the way that the data is handled and the way that we're distributed them. So it's a big props to our smart contract developer, Gokor. He's been amazing. I see him in the crowd.
There he is.
So, yeah, I think we've got 18 minutes left. I wanted to leave a little bit of room for any questions that people had live before we continue. Does anyone have a question that they would like to ask? If you would like to ask a question, please feel free to raise your hand.
And yeah, I've only got, I think, one more question from the crowd that I've seen that I was going to go into. So yeah, let me know if you need it.
Okay, let's hear your question right now, and we'll see if anyone raises their
Yeah,
hand.
sure. I think Feather, yeah, you were asking 10,000 is a large number of characters, character NFTs. Ideally, we would have thousands of participants, but since this is kind of a niche game market, are there any plans, considerations, ideas around burning character NFTs for some kind of reward or anything? Yeah.
Yeah, so I've thought about some stuff like that, and having the chance to re-roll characters and things like that. Uh, it's not exactly a high priority, as I said earlier. I think it'll be better for us to build on other communities and integrate them and give them utility than it will be to um, produce more characters. But I'm always open to different ideas, and I do have some that we're chewing on. But right now, there's not a plan to delete characters. We can talk about wrapping them in the future, but that's again kind of a after the initial stuff.
Cool. An item that Borg just brought up, which is a great question that we've thought about before. Do we have or do we have plans to download a log of our matches or hint hint be able to play them back in the client or something?
So
And I guess I can actually semi-answer that, just in the sense of we've talked about it before. I'll double check if we have a ticket or not. But one of the things that makes MUDs a lot of fun, At least for mutters, I don't know. Like maybe the outside world just sees text and they don't really know what's going on. But for mutters, it's definitely looking back at the history of what happened during a match or while you were playing is a very fun, critical part of it. I think we've made some slight mistakes with the client in being unable to like copy paste aspects of it because it's updating so quickly and we really didn't focus on it. But the ability to like keep a log of what happened of the output and potentially even have the client like be able to replay everything that happened as if you were there again. Those are things we've definitely thought about.
Yeah. I think also one of the big things is kind of creating an environment where we share content. So I've recorded a lot of the play sessions where I was describing how to play and where we had close matches. Every time that we play in one of the play sessions, I make sure to stream my screen so everyone can see exactly what my team is seeing and how I'm playing so that they can see that there's no unfair advantages or even listening to it has been a lot of fun. And we've gotten players that come in because they heard how much fun we were having and they were just listening, and then they jump in and then they understand exactly what we were talking about because there's a lot of activity, you know. In a lot of these crypto games, it's you kind of sit back and you can click some buttons, and in here you can do that. But when we're in a voice chat, there's a lot more activity and strategy that goes on between people, and kind of sharing that experience and sharing that social strategy is part of what the content strategy and content focus will be. So we will definitely share a lot more kind of tutorials with video stuff, as well as I want to have an area where it assumes that you don't even know how to walk around with arcade mode, and it welcomes you into the game, and then after that you walk into the tavern. So I think that's a big part of what we need as the onboarding mechanism is assuming someone comes into mud, how do they play something? It doesn't necessarily have to be the full game, but give them a taste so that they want to convert and come in and play for real. So that's part of the tutorial, that's part of the marketing content that we're going to create, and part of this social and cultural that we need to create as well. So, big thank you to our community that has helped out so far and has showed up to a lot of these matches. They've been really a big help, and I love everyone that has showed up and has participated. It's one of the reasons that we're here working so hard every day.
No, for sure. I will. Do you see any hands up? I was just curious if my interface doesn't show it.
No, there's no hands up.
Yeah. The only question that so I'm gonna ask you a question
Yeah.
because I want to, and I can do that. When will players or how will players be able to eventually make their own matches?
Yeah, so we touched on that earlier with the match UI being improved for match creation. I don't think that we're that far off from players being able to create matches. We will want to kind of figure out a process so that people don't create hundreds of matches to unbalance it and be able to take over the leaderboard. But you know, that is something that we can discuss, and you know, is probably not that far off.
Cool. Just scanning through stuff. Gulio, I see a smattering of questions that are similar to the ones I think I'd heard in the podcast. But I know you want to know a little bit more about the lore. You want to know a little bit about the secrets. So Penguin, can you sneak in some racial abilities that we don't know about yet?
Yeah,
Hmm?
so I Gulio asked me this on the Whispers of Evermore, and I did not disclose any information there. I'm not going to disclose any specific ones now, but
Okay.
I will say that they'll be composed of some of the skills that other classes have, and some of them might be unique to the different races, but to give each race and class a different feel, I think it's really important to have those kind of distinctions. And whether that's specific terrain that races get a benefit on, we're not really not prepared to describe things that we haven't written yet. So I don't want to say this is what it's going to do when we haven't written it yet. But there's all kinds of opportunities for us to create interesting skills, and I think that's one of the big parts about balancing. Is I want to make sure that each time we do a balancing, we create a set of skills. Things are kind of flexible. We adjust how the balance is, and then it's stable for a little bit, so people understand how their character is going to play. And then when we introduce more skills, then we have got the flexibility to kind of balance again. And we'll do that from periodically from time to time, which shakes up the meta, makes it so that characters are still fun to play. And then there's also the new mix of skills that people have to balance against. So that's kind of where we'll make those shifts and changes, and where you'll see things like racial abilities. So those will be part of the skill pushes. And I think as soon as we finish more of these game modes, we'll see more of the focus come out in the uniqueness of characters.
Cool, cool. I'm just wondering about integrations wise. So you've got all these people chilling on Discord, and you know what? Maybe they're at work. What are they going to be able to see that relates to the game? Is there anything that we're going to connect them with?
Yeah, so I touched on it earlier as well when we were talking about the social aspect. Is being here in Discord is where a lot of us interact with most people, especially with people being working from home and after 2 years of COVID. A lot of people have a Discord connection with people. Even right now, I talk to most of my friends on Discord, and we'll carry that through in our game so that what happens in the game can be shared on Discord. And so part of that are opening channels so that you can communicate from Discord, so you can be at work and on your phone, and you can talk to your friends in a game, uh, or even get the live updates. So I think having the match stats shared to Discord so that people can see who won and some of the key matches is one of the big parts. And that goes back to like watching matches. There is a big opportunity for people to see how other people play, and even like as you're in a match, understanding what's happening. Like if there's a kill streak that comes up, I think those are things that help people experience the game rather than just read it. So we will have integrations like that that connect our game to our current community as well as outside ones. So like we hooked into a larger mud protocol for communication so that you can talk to any of the 1,500 people playing muds on different servers right now as well. But yeah, so our ability to connect and share that information is going to be really important going forward, and will help the game feel like it's living in all of the different places that we are.
Very cool. I've got two more questions I can ask. Tell me if you want them.
Yeah, I want them. I want to save the at least 2 minutes to talk about some of the art updates as well.
It should be quick. Gulio again. I'm just gonna speak for him because I want to know these things too. Will heroes with legendary names and those cool titles, is there anything special about them?
Yeah, so as we talk more about the lore, we will write some of those characters into the lore so they have existing kind of places in the story. And there's a really rich story that we've written into the the world and really define that we're going to be sharing in the coming months as well. So, it's not just a hack and slash. There is a lot of thought put into the the lore and the world and what that means and why people are here, and the actual world building aspect of this has not been lost and will be shared with the community as well.
Yeah, and I think that'll become a little more apparent, like the tavern and then larger areas, and then who knows, dungeon dives, all these other quests and things that'll happen out in the world. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of possibilities. Last question, which I could probably answer a little bit myself. I think timed, you were asking, will we be able to play against other projects like apes, goblins? Unless we turned it off, which I'll have to double check with Penguin. Yeah, we can integrate our project with all sorts of other collections of NFTs. We've already got integrations for Bored Apes and Mutant Apes. Do we have any others? I mean, goblins is one that we are looking into and working on. Was there any other plans for that?
Yeah, so I think the main thing is finding communities that we would like to align with, and then if there's value and they would like to align with us, then we will pick them up. If it's a collection that some of our players would like us to integrate, we can integrate it as well. I think the big thing is finding communities that need utility for a token, or the tokens that will be fitting of our RP, so that we're not shoehorning, say, alien friends into a fantasy world. So while we love alien friends, it doesn't fit for our story that much.
That's all I've got.
Yeah, so I think the last thing that I wanted to touch on were part of the roadmap update, and part of telling this story is also showing a little bit. So especially with ASCII, a big part of this is imagination, but part of understanding conceptually what we're looking at is also seeing it. So I've created a whole bunch of really new, amazing art that we will be sharing, that has to do with what the world looks like, what some of the landmarks look like, and not specifically what the characters look like, because we want people to have their own identity of what they look like, but it will really start telling the story of Evermore and what the world looks like. So I'm excited to share the art. It's been a lot of fun making it, and I'm really excited to share it because it's been a while since I've had a chance to do some art, and it fits really amazingly with our story. So I'm excited to share it as well.
Yeah, for sure. I don't want to like mess with anyone's expectation or anything, but like the main takeaway that I've seen being able to see the art is it gives you a vibe of how that area or part of the world or characters should be without tainting your imagination, if you ask me. Seeing the color palette, getting a feel for the size and the immensity of things, it's a good way to convey it for sure. And Times just posted a GIF that, yeah,
I
yeah,
see. I
exactly.
see one hand. So we've got time for one last
Oh,
question,
here we go.
and then we will call it. Unless there's no other pressing questions, but let's invite Feather up.
Do it. Hello, Feather. Come on up.
So you have to click accept invite to come speak.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, we can hear
Yes,
you. How are you doing?
Good. So sorry, I lost my AirPods, so I'm just speaking into my phone.
you sound
um,
great. Don't worry.
so I wanted to just add a couple things. I'm really impressed with all of the work and all of the information you guys came to the AMA with. It's clear that you guys are doing a lot more behind the scenes than we get to see, on a day-to-day basis, and that's awesome. Um, I think a lot of people in the community have some great ideas, and I think you guys have done a good job at incorporating and responding to those. But if I just want to say, if there's any aspect that you need extra help on, I think there's people in the community that would be more than willing to lend a hand, because the project that you guys are building is inspiring and immersive, and and pretty sweet. And then the other thing I wanted to say is Ether Orcs. They have orcs, goblins, shamans, ogres, dark elves. They would be a great project to potentially incorporate as NFTs as well.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I've definitely heard of Ether Orcs, and we'll reach out to see if there's anyone in their community, and we can look at integrating them. It's a great idea. And also, yeah, I want to reiterate just how awesome our community is. Thank you to you, Feather, as well as people like Gulio have taken the proactive approach of integrating and asking to do another podcast. I think there'll be a lot more opportunities for the community to help support and do things, and we're definitely looking for ideas and to give you guys opportunities to help test things out early, and looking for ways that you can engage. And so yeah, thank you. And if there are any ideas that you have, please come to us or post them in the ideas channel. And if you have a talent or something that you'd like to explore, feel free to do it and show off. And maybe we can create some lore around some of the stuff that you do and support you, as well as help support the social aspect of everything that we're doing. So yeah, definitely reach out if there's anything else that a talent that you want to share with the community, and we can help support that. Thank you.
Very cool.
So
Anything else?
I think that's pretty much all for the AMA. We have a Pope bot. So if you go into one of the channels and you type Pope claim / Pope, the DGen bot will register your address for being here and participating today. So we will give out different POAPs for participating today, and then we'll be able to look at those wallets later. So we also have a form that you can fill out for participating to get an item for the upcoming item drop. So we'll share that link in the AMA questions following this. Let me share that right now. But yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you so much, team, for supporting us. Thank you, community. Thank you for all the mods and the people that have helped bring us here. We're gonna keep pushing, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that we're gonna get better at sharing. But our goal is to talk about things that we've done, not make promises that are going to be in the future that we are not actively working on, or are things that will be undecided or undefined. So we're making a real effort to share what we do rather than where we want to go. So thank you very much for being here, and we will get better every day. Thank you.
Thanks everybody for coming. It's a lot of fun making this. Even the first version that we made in September of next year, it was scrappy. We made it quickly, but we made something fun, and we're continuing to iterate. And I'm really excited to share all the things that we're gonna make.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good one, everyone.
Take care.
Now let's have a game. Come on.
Yeah, let's play. I'm gonna start up a match right now.
Let's go. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.